You know what it is. I was supposed to just go live if the Cleveland Browns made a trade to get back into the first round, but I didn't have no time to play no games. I said, you know what? Why don't I just go live right now so I can give people what I think right now so far in the draft, right? Right now, they're pick 32, which means the Cleveland Browns have, I believe, 32 and 36 in the second round. Now, if you was watching UCSS and you was watching the 2 hour draft situation that we did live, you will know what my reaction was, what the Cleveland Browns did in trading back. I've been talking about this situation for, I would say, roughly about 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, when the notion of trading back came up. I said, under no circumstances should the Cleveland Browns trade back. They did exactly that. As I was driving into the studio to do the show, we saw the trade news drop. The Cleveland Browns traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars in order to move back and accumulate picks. They get an additional first round pick in 2026. They also get an additional second round pick in this draft at 36, I believe. They then moved and were able to take Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan. Now, you already know how I feel about it, back what we talked about earlier. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch. I think the pick is in, and I want to see what the Browns do. They're probably not going to trade into this pick with Kansas City. Kansas City does not need a quarterback. Kansas City won't draft a quarterback, right? So the Browns are at 33 right now. I believe they're back on the clock at 36 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to withhold judgment and take a look at what they possibly can do tomorrow. I think the Cleveland Browns, by drafting a quarterback at 32, or excuse me, at 33, like Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe, could salvage this trade. And I believe that they can salvage the trade by coming up and getting a quarterback who most people in Cleveland thought would probably be there, would not be there past a certain time frame. So right now, you have, with the Cleveland Browns at 33, you have the ability to get a quarterback, which you severely need, and you have the ability to have an extra draft pick, so to speak. This in the second round, you got 2 threes as well. Here's where we're going to make the decision on what it is, why I don't like this move. Here's the first reason. When you're looking at this move, and right now Kansas City is on the clock. Yes, you got a haul. Yes, you received a lot of picks. But the problem I have consistently with the Cleveland Browns is this. You were drafting third for a reason. And you were drafting third because you don't have a quarterback. You don't have playmakers. You don't have the ability to score over 15 points. And you have an offense that is almost in the dark ages. The Browns offense is the most vanilla, the most boring, the most efficient. They're penalized the most. They drop the football. They do a lot of different things. And it's not the draft pick necessarily. Because I want to say that, Mason Graham, no disrespect to him. I think he's a really good football player. No disrespect. And he plays for the Cleveland Browns, so I will support him and root him for him as a Cleveland Brown. This has nothing to do with him personally. And after this thing happens, we'll go on, move along, and the Cleveland Browns will draft other players, and we'll see how it pans out. This has nothing to do with him. He's a good football player. The problem I have is this. You could have gotten something more than what you had a defensive tackle. We've talked about ad nauseum the generational players that were in front of us, the Abdul Carters, the Ashton Jeanty, who people say is probably one of the most dynamic running backs that we've seen since like LaDainian Tomlinson. If there's one thing that they talked about was this draft class was deep and solid at running back. You also had Travis Hunter, right? A guy that people were actually calling a generational player. Two-way guy, great character, works hard, no bumps on the radar, so to speak. Great character guy, wants to do it. He's a transcendent type player. And then you have Abdul Carter, who, for me, in this draft, I say at least you come away with Abdul Carter. Even I would have preferred Travis Hunter over Abdul Carter. But make no bones about it. Abdul Carter was a guy that people were saying has such an upside to be able to dominate and do what he can do and pair him with Myles Garrett, and that would be devastating. But you traded back. And the rule is, if you are going to trade back, you need to be able to trade back and still be in contention to draft the no-brain type players. In my opinion, there were 3 of them. Some would stretch it a little bit and say Cam Ward was there because he's a quarterback. But I had 3 of those guys. I had Cam Ward, borderline blue chip, T-Mac, borderline, a blue chip at receiver, right? And you didn't get any of them. You didn't get Hunter, you didn't get Jeanty, and you did not get Abdul Carter. My thing is, if you're going to move and get something, you got to get something now. And the fact that you want to run the football, the fact that you're not even talking about Nick Chubb coming back so far. We haven't heard anything on that front. And Jerome Ford, that's what you got? You could have got the best running back in the draft. You could have got the best running back in the draft at 5 and still could have gotten Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe. Think about that. Before the draft, if you would have told somebody you were going to get Ashton Jeanty and you could have got Milroe or Shedeur Sanders available right now because they're on the clock right now. Great. We'd have been doing jumping jacks and backflips. But you didn't do that. You traded down and got a solid player at 5. Again, solid player. And when it comes to some of the shortcomings for Mason Graham, he has short arms. He's undersized as a defensive tackle. He's 290-something. He's not a huge mauler. He doesn't give you any pass rush ability. He's more of a run stopper and a guy that can hold up blocks. He has a low center of gravity. But when it comes to impactful football, who is more impactful, Ashton Jeanty or Mason Graham? Mind you, you want to go back to the Kevin Stefanski play-action game. Who is more impactful, Travis Hunter or Mason Graham? I would even argue at that place, I would rather you reach on the tight end from Penn State because you don't have tight ends besides Njoku. He might not be Brock Bowers, but look what Brock Bowers was able to do. I would rather you reach on that. But Andrew Berry does what Andrew Berry does. He got smart. He got happy that he got his trade and his number 1 pick. And now let's go with the guy who's going to be a defensive tackle. Let me ask you a question. How many years in a row are we going to pass on other players and pass on guys that can put the ball in the end zone over guys that are going to be up front and stopping what? The run? Let me mind you. Let me bring this back. How many defensive tackles has a dude? He got Malik McDowell. Let's bring him in. We see how that turned out. He went and got Perion Winfrey in the 4th round. See how that turned out. Swing and a miss. Jordan Elliott, 3rd round pick. That was a swing and a miss. Tommy Togiai, swing and a miss. Siaki Ika never got on the field. Zero, zip zero. And then the money that you spent in free agents wasn't even for skill position guys. You spent the money on Shelby Harris and Dalvin Tomlinson. You spent big money on those guys. So, not to mention that you just drafted Mike Hall Jr. You drafted Mike Hall Jr. in the second round, which was the highest draft pick you had. So my question is, yeah, people are saying you got to build through the trenches and build through. What the hell he been doing or trying to? Let's not even talk about Zinter, who looks like he can't even play, that you drafted from Michigan. So my thought process is this. You could have did what you needed to do in this draft. You could have got those picks, did what you needed to do, and took a player that is going to impact the offensive side of the football. I don't know if Browns fans think that they're going to hold people to 0 points. I don't know if fans feel like if they draft a defensive lineman every single year or get a tackle or nose, that they're going to somehow be the 85 Bears. They're not. Myles Garrett, listen, even if you didn't get Abdul Carter, he's still a blue chip type player. At least I can say put him over there and you're going to have a problem. No one gives a damn about Mason Graham in the middle. He is not destroying game plans. He's not Aaron Donald. He's not Warren Sapp. He's not Cortez Kennedy. He's not none of these guys. Let's be clear. And I find it difficult that people are willing to look at a person that don't have stats. His team lost 4 or 5 games last year, but yet and still they could pick holes all through Travis Hunter's game, and he the Heisman Trophy winner on a team with just him and Shador. I find it funny that you can squint really, really hard and say, well, I know he ain't a dominant player. He don't really have the edge rush ability. He might be only a 2-down player. He's only going to stop the run, but you are going to accept that at 5? When you can have playmakers that do something. My problem with the Cleveland Browns is they do the same old, tired, dumb, ridiculous stuff. In a draft where you got a person who's a 2-way star or a pass rusher everybody says is going to get you 10 to 12 sacks. You got smart and said, give me more picks so I can get some other stuff. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like you just gave, think about this. The New York Giants, they get Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart because they're serious about figuring stuff out. That's how you draft with urgency. They took the best player available, who's a blue chip guy, and then traded back in and got Jackson Dart. Browns had an opportunity to do the same thing. The Browns controlled all of the chips on the board. They could have done the same thing. They could have did the trade and still got an offensive player. But now we sit here, and when you're drafting in the top 5 or the top 10, or you bet not miss. You got to have somebody that is a perennial Pro Bowler, not a guy that's going to stop the run. And where are all these Browns fans when every time they draft these defensive tackles and they whiff, where are you at explaining this? Where are you at calling this out? Because I remember they drafted Danny Shelton at 15. And he was out of the league in 4 years. You drafted Cam Irving at 19. He had never played center in his life. They drafted a tackle at Florida State that was supposed to play center. At least the old regimes knew Joe Thomas was a top 3, 4, 5 pick, and they took him. The Browns, I don't understand, and I'm sitting here trying to wrap my head around that. Why do we consistently keep giving away players that are going to come back to bite us in the ass, that are going to come back and wreak havoc. Think about this. You can't find a quarterback. You don't got one. Jacksonville has their quarterback. Jacksonville has gone and got a very nice defensive line. They drafted the kid Walker. They got what's it, Josh Allen at rush end, had 18 sacks or something crazy a couple of years ago. They got ball players. Guess who else they got down there? The kid from LSU last year. What's his name? Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Thomas Jr. was one of the best receivers last year. Now you give him Travis Hunter. These teams are in your own division. We do stuff to make everybody better. Now you want to think, oh, well, they're gonna be garbage. That's what you're hoping? You think that the Jacksonville Jaguars are destined to win how many games? For that to make sense, they would have to be drafted in the top 5, and it would look great. But trust me, they got ETN, they got a quarterback, they got one of the best receivers in Brian Thomas Jr. You got a guy, Travis Hunter, who's a monster. They got 2 guys up front on the D line and a linebacker, and Oluwanju, that just tackles people for a living. But yet and still, we trade down to get a defensive tackle that may affect 3 plays in a game. And by the way, I'm just letting guys know this. If you want to be like, oh, he's a casual, he doesn't know what he's talking about, defensive ends, that's how you build, that's how you build. My whole life has been dedicated to either playing defensive line or evaluating defensive linemen. I've had my hand in the dirt since I was a kid. So if anything, I know firsthand how difficult it is for you to play and for you to be a dominant factor in the outcome of a game when a team has all their pieces set up. I know what the impact is. For God's sakes, we got Myles Garrett. That's why you think he looks so dejected. He understands how difficult it is. I had a defensive player of the year run for 2 years in a row. We won 3 total games. 3. The Cleveland Browns, I don't even understand why I'm even surprised by this. Anytime you put in the comment section, and I want to know, I'm gonna get to the comments because I know people's mad. And if you one of these people that like to move, so be it. You like to move, great. I'm not gonna try to talk you out of not liking to move. Certain people just always want picks because the upside of a pick is a lottery ticket. The lottery ticket could be anything, and we imagine that it's going to be the highest level that we ever see. But I'm going to tell you what. Let me understand this really quickly. Who do you guys want? And let me ask you, seriously. Seriously, I want to. When I get off here, I want to hear from the fans. There's 1,800 people in here right now. I appreciate all 1,800 of you, man. I want to know. Let me understand who you actually want. At any time there was a receiver that we can trade for, or it's a free agent, the first thing is out of your mouth is we don't need that, or why it isn't a good idea, or why we just want them because they have a name. Anytime you're available to get a guy who could be a superstar in waiting, you make up a reason why it's uncomfortable for you to take him because he might not work out here. You got a top 2 draft pick with 3-4 guys that can't miss. You trade back and go to 4 or 5, and you think that we're going to be satisfied or excited that you traded back? Because look who's taking the picks. Even when Andrew Berry comes up with a great trade, he fumbles the bag by not following it up and finishing your breakfast with drafting a guy that can help you now. Everybody knows the Browns defense is way ahead of the offense. Everybody knows you have Denzel Ward. You got Mike Hall Jr. Why? Defensive tackle is not even a position of need for the Browns. It's not. It's not even top 5. Go look at their starting receivers. Go look who's penciled in to start. I'll read them off to you. Browns receiver depth chart. Let's see. Let me find out who's supposed to be starting for you now. Let me see. Here we go. Let's get to it. Right now, this is your receiving room. Cedric Tillman. He ain't done nothing. Robert Woods. Michael Woods, excuse me. If it was Robert Woods, I would be happy. Michael Woods, whatever, not nothing. DeAndre Carter, David Bell, Jamari Thrash, Peyton Davis. These are your guys that you're lining up with trying to get points. Not to mention that your quarterbacks is Flacco and Kenny Pickett. And by the way, this propaganda that people is running around with is unacceptable. I didn't talk to, listen, Aditi was on, no disrespect. Kenny Pickett's the starter. Mary Kay was on, no disrespect. Kenny Pickett's the starter. I talked to Jason Lloyd. He said, oh my goodness, they think they're going to give Kenny Pickett a shot. Under no circumstances is this where we're supposed to be. We retread quarterbacks that we used to laugh at, that when we played them, we thought it was French toast and breakfast every time we saw Pickett. We'd love to see Kenny Pickett with them little gloves on. And in an alternate universe, your offseason move is now Kenny Pickett is going to compete for a starting job? You can't be serious. But this is what's coming down from the ivory tower. But I ain't for it. I am not for it. This is an alternate universe where good is bad and bad is good. We sitting up here trying to talk Kenny Pickett up, and while we get to the draft, we done passed up player after player after player after player. It's crazy. Where's your tight ends at? Your running back room is Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong. And I already understand they got 33 and 36 or whatever the case may be. They can get a running back, but here's the difference, folks. You could have gotten the best running back, not just a bargain, not the bargain back at 33. You could have got the best running back. But somehow we don't like that. We don't like playmakers. I swear to goodness, man, we are in a place where the fan base and the people in the media and this team have been beat down so long that they are shell-shocked and are afraid to even make even obvious moves. I could have gave you benefit of the doubt with the Julio Jones thing. But this move, defensive tackle is not even a need. It's not. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, offensive line. Those are the top 5. And you could probably throw in linebacker because we don't know if JOK going to play. But these dudes, to play it safe, went and really got a 2-down defensive tackle who just happens to be slightly undersized with no pass rushing ability. And we sat up here for months talking about Abdul Carter and him playing with Myles Garrett. It's just, and the premise of it is, well, it's all about getting the quarterback. It's all about getting the quarterback. And I'm tired of hearing that crap too. Let's extrapolate that out. You meaning to tell me you're willing to stake your career, your season, the primes of people that are still playing on this team so that you can hope and wish for a quarterback next year because the perception is that class is better? I need y'all to sit up here and don't tell me. I need you to put a name to it. Oh, what quarterback this year was so great that you need to trade all these picks, you need to accumulate all this draft capital to move up for said quarterback? Who is it? Don't give me that glaze stuff. I want to be very specific about it. That's what you got to do to people. Stop telling me about the draft class and tell me who you willing to trade it for. Nussmeier? I watched him play all the time. Nothing special last year. Who else? Kid from South Carolina? That's what we doing? No, here's what it is. You guys are all, man, the propaganda works so well on certain people. What you're trying to do is sell your whole soul to get Arch Manning, who's played 2 games, who might not even come out. And his family has a history of steering his family people to where he wants to play. So when you don't draft Travis Hunter, and you don't draft Abdul Carter, you don't get Jeanty, and you trade back and get these picks, and Jacksonville isn't 2 and something. They actually won 9 games last year, and you draft that pick you got is 15. Even if you have those picks, who's to say that there's more than one quarterback that's worth anything? Even if you have those picks, even if you got them, and those quarterbacks are generational, nobody is, if they didn't trade the pick for Cam Ward, why would you think that they would trade a pick for a guy that, no. You make it make sense to me. Because I just came on here and we got a lot of comments. Man, it's over 2,100 people in here. And I'm ready to have the conversation. But man, I mean, make it make sense to me. I mean, at this point, you could have had Ashton Jeanty and still got Shedeur Sanders. You could have had Ashton Jeanty and still gotten Jalen Milroe. And still had another second-round pick. You could have got another defensive tackle if you wanted that back at the second pick. And you got 2 threes. This has to me written, we're trying to tank all over it. I mean, I don't know how to give it to you any easier. But to me, we got it, especially with all this covert plan to make Kenny Pickett the starter. I mean, trust me, I've been behind the scenes, and all I've been hearing is actually they like Kenny Pickett. Actually, they want Pickett to start. I see why. You're really trying to, you can't tell me that this is a winning strategy. You just can't. Let's get to it. It's wild, man. It's wild. Let me take this down, man. It's inexplicable. I don't even want I'd be wasting my time with half this stuff, man. It's just Esco, we appreciate the super chat, man. Jags will win the AFC South easy. What a joke. You know who comes out of the AFC South? Tennessee, Jacksonville, the Texans. They fight back and forth all the time. It's not like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They went in the playoffs a couple of years ago, and they won a playoff game. I don't understand it, man. James Cosby, the Cleveland Browns are the NFL's minor league. That's the way the front operates year after year, year in, year out. Thank you so much for the super chat, my brother. And unfortunately, I can't even refute it. Now, look, best available right now, Will Johnson is still on the board. Mike Green, edge out of Marshall's on the board. Shedeur on the board. Nick Amarari is still on the board. I like him. He's a monster. Luther Burton, you could get, right here with some receivers. Tyler Shook is still on the board. Man. Travion Henderson is there. But I listen, I look at it. Yes, you can still get, I like Mike Green, but under no circumstance, I would have took Mike. I would have rather had the edge rusher than the tackle. It's wild, man. I don't understand. I just don't get it. And they're so willing to hand these players to these other teams and not even think about this. All those other teams was at one point drafting right where the Browns was. Texans had all them picks, right? They got CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, playoffs. What Jacksonville? They went and made the move to get Travis Hunter. They got Brian Thomas Jr. Now all of a sudden they lethal. I'm tired of watching these stupid games every single year and saying the same stupid stuff about why we can't score, why we don't got a quarterback, and how people are going to check out and say, I can't watch the Browns. I'm done with them. But every single time we get to the offseason, every single time we get to where we're supposed to be at, you come up with a reason why you don't want somebody. Who the hell do you want? I want a name. Travis Hunter wasn't good enough for you. Ashton Jeanty wasn't good enough for you. You said there ain't no quarterbacks in the draft. You bring up a name to trade for somebody? Nope, we don't want him neither. Who do y'all want? You can't be wanting to win. I ain't seen y'all pound the table. And the reality of the situation is the whole Deshaun Watson thing makes me feel like they just completely punted on, yeah, we got screwed by Deshaun Watson and he didn't make it. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to be extra mid. These folks. I get my man Watson out of here. Cleveland curse. You know what? You know, the way that people be spending this stuff, I mean, I was so beside myself. I said, well, if y'all want to just punt, y'all might as well put Deshaun Watson back in. Don't play with me. Listen, this could be real ugly. I sit here for 16 weeks or something dumb endorsing a person I know ain't going to play. Like, this is crazy. It's like, I understand you said you was going to, hey, I'm not going to force a quarterback, but it looked like you don't even want to force talent. You don't even want to force none of that. Let's keep it pushing, man. I want to get to some of these, man. I know it's a lot. Let me see. I appreciate y'all staying around. 2,300 people in here. That's a lot. Hey, the defensive tackle from Oregon was better. Graham will be pushed around a lot. Hall is undersized as well. It's crazy. Guys, I'm sick to my gut. Get online. Shador's still on the board. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. The only way they can salvage this to me and sell this to me is if they take Milroe or Shador Sanders. And both of them are there, I do believe. Am I correct? That's the only way you can salvage this. Man, like, this is what I just keep getting from people. This is what I get from people. Listen, I'm officially done. Sanders and Milroe, Will Johnson still there, plus running backs. We got 2 second-rounders. Lamar, let me ask you something. Why are you taking a position that is not a need? It's not the fact that there aren't guys available. You could have maximized the pick at 5 if you were going to trade it and took one of the highest rated players on the board. Everybody has Jeanty as in the top 5 in terms of what they feel about him on the big board. It's a position of need. It's a blue chip player. Why would you take a defensive tackle when you have all of these offensive issues? It's almost like you're gaslighting us, making us think like, I don't know what they're doing. For months. This is why, listen, y'all call me what y'all want. Y'all say what you want. Lawrence can attest to it. I got a PhD in catching fools slipping. Y'all just, maybe it's the glasses or the jewelry or I be funny sometimes or my facial features. What I be saying actually be really there. I knew they was going to try to do it. You know why, Lawrence? They have no confidence in picking players. They have no confidence in scouting and picking players that can actually contribute. Go look at the offensive players that they've drafted. This is the same guy that made Jed Wills a top 10 pick. This is the same guy that picked Anthony Schwartz. This is the same dude that said David Bell. Like, it's wild to me, man. This guy don't know how to evaluate no talent offensively. And he don't really know how to evaluate defensive tackles because none of them are still on the team. Every play Hunters make, my heart is going to burn out of my chest. Look, they have no plan. They can't. Once again, only thing that's going to salvage this is taking a quarterback. That's it. Other than that, this was a massive what the you know what. Hey, Bradley, I love it. Here's what I'm saying. I said it earlier. No disrespect to Mason Graham. He's a very good football player. Nobody who makes two-time All-American is a garbage player. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. It's a difference between a player being a good player and as a guy who you know has talent, with me saying, yes, but we need other things. Yes, he doesn't necessarily fit into the timetable and what we're trying to do. That's not a knock to him. That's to say, what are we doing at these other places? I mean, and people should be vocal because they should be just as vocal as they were when Deshaun Watson was not playing correctly and not playing well. People were voicing that. People were saying it's unacceptable, it's not good enough because the offense is that putrid. But yet and still, you come into this draft knowing what your roster looks like, and you take a guy that doesn't move the needle enough. It just doesn't. Like, this is, you had other players you can look at. Y'all been killing on those super chat. Let's get to it, man. Let's see. Jeremy Long says Sanders at 33, Henderson or Higgins at 36. I like it. I'm telling you, unless they draft the quarterback, it got to be salvageable. Defensive tackle, if you like Mason Graham that much, the only way that it makes sense in that haul is to say, okay, well, then I got Shedeur Sanders. I got a quarterback of the future. I got a top-notch back in TreVeyon Henderson, and they have the ability to do it. There is no reason that they can't get it done. Zero. None. And you got 2 third-round picks, too. Thank you. They did that with Mike Junkin. What's up, Greg? I see. Hey, G Money Uptown says they can still get Luther Burden. I think he's the best wide receiver. These next picks better all be offensive. I like Luther Burden too. Is Emeka Ibuka still on the board? Somebody let me know. 2,500 people, wherever you at, hit the like button for your boy. Stop playing. Let's go. G. Bush, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Make you wonder. Brady passed on his mentee. Well, look, they've already allocated money to Geno Smith. They already gave him, I think, almost $100 million. So they had one right there. So that was a thing immediately. R-Mac Dog. Gee, I agree with you. Flacco gives the Brown a better chance to win. So just take Sanders and Henderson at 33 and 36, bring back Chubb. That's what it's supposed to be. Mac dog, that's it. That's it. You go get a tight end in the third round, or whatever the case may be, another receiver. That is exactly what's supposed to be. Either you're gonna take Henderson, or you're gonna take Luther Burden, or somebody like that. But you all this rest of this is offense, all of it. I wish I loved anything as much as AB loves to avoid draft offense. Squid the Vet, Ohio, I thank you so much for the super chat. I mean, he's obviously avoiding it. If you don't take, and that's the tough thing about it. If you don't take these guys, it's always a kick in the can down the road. It's always, we'll get it next time, or we'll hand deliver dynamic players over this way. It's just like, and ask yourself, even when they do get dynamic playmakers, even when they do got guys that's supposed to be good, none of them do nothing. It don't be on them. I'm starting to think it's these two dudes that's moving around that don't have a clue. The offense is just, man. Cordelia Richards. 3.5 sacks over 12 games make you a first-round talent? No. And Cordelia, my problem is this. Watch when you listen. Listen, this is why, try to explain this. This is why I be so mad. And this is why sometimes I don't even like claiming to be in the media, because they do these little things and they think people that don't understand what you just did. Cordelia, we just sat there and we talked about Travis Hunter. We talked about Travis Hunter being undersized, and what is he going to be? Is he going to be super duper great on both sides of the ball? But we don't. When you look at his production, 100 catches. When you look at the interceptions, 4 or 5 interceptions. When you look at 1,300 yards, playing both ways, don't come off the field. Impact play after impact play you can watch on film. But the same people tomorrow, because they got an extra lottery ticket, they're going to sell you on the fact that Mason Graham is the next Aaron Donald. Watch what I tell you. When you bring up his stats, they're going to say it's not all about stats. But in other cases, they're going to use that against people. When it comes to being undersized at 290-some pounds, shorter than what we would like to expect, arm length is less than we would like to expect, pad level is poor at times, we're gonna skim right over that. You know why? No one is ever going to pull up defensive line tape to watch it. Your favorite host, your favorite Twitter guy, they aren't going to pull up a damn thing and look at none of that. You know what they're going to do? They're going to listen to people that they're their colleagues, and they're going to regurgitate everything they say. When in reality, they just really, for months, we just went back and forth about Carter and Jeanty and Travis Hunter and Shador. And we get Mason Graham, a defensive tackle, and they're going to make it like, oh, that's what we do. Listen, he fits the DNA of what we want. What, not scoring points? Ellis, I see you, my brother. Appreciate you, OG, on there. I appreciate you, man. We are picking last for a reason. Browns fans should be mad for thinking we are stupid. You got three wins. And the reason you got 3 wins is not because the defense was trash last year. It was because you couldn't score points and you didn't have any quarterback play. And so what do? You draft a D tackle to avoid putting your name and standing by somebody and developing somebody. Let's keep it pushing. Chantel, G. Bush, what about getting uh, quarterback Shador in at 33 and 36? I don't think that they will do it. The reason that they won't do it is they'll want to take one of those picks and use it on something else. And I think they'll choose between which one they want. Whoever they want the most, they're going to take it with that first pick. But let me ask you this, Chantel, and this is devastating. What happens when the Browns turn the card in tomorrow and Shador and Milroe aren't on that list? And then you get to 36 and Shador and Milroe aren't on that list. And you get over all the way to the third round. And now those guys are off the board. Maybe Shuck is off the board. And now they're talking about the Will Howards of the world, the Dylan Gabriels. That's the thing you're going to have to mess with. That's the thing. They're trying to tank so bad so everybody will want them to move to the broke path. I think that's going to happen. But I mean, they're not serious about winning. They're just not. And that's the most difficult thing. That's the most difficult thing about it. Like they're not. And let me go to and for Myles Garrett. People say, "Is there a plan?" Whatever the case may be. When you Myles Garrett and you say we don't have a quarterback, what's your plan? And the plan is Kenny Pickett. And then you say, okay, we're in the draft. You're gonna draft the quarterback? They like, nah, we're gonna draft the D tackle. This is the stuff. This is why people just, it's weird. People don't. That's why people don't want to come here. It's just because even if you do have a guy like Mason Graham, and it's going to come a time when, if he is a good player, he's going to want the organization to put people around him to help him out. And when that time comes, the Cleveland Browns, or at least the people that are in charge right now, have not shown any capacity to help somebody get to where they want to go. They don't develop well. They don't identify talent well. They don't draft well. They don't scheme players up well. They don't communicate well. They don't see opportunities where other people see weaknesses. They're not trailblazers. They don't take risk. They're conservative. They're all of these things. And once again, we are back on the drawing board trying to figure out why it is that it's just like that where we are. For other teams, think Robert McVay. Think about the impact of the Rams now having 2 picks. See, the Rams can do that. The Rams will be great because they find guys like Puka Nacua. They draft guys like Cooper Kupp. They make trades for Matt Stafford. They get multiple running backs after Todd Gurley is his career is up. They're able to trade Jalen Ramsey and keep it pushing. That's the difference between them and us, because they actually have infrastructure to get things done. We keep going, man. We get to some of these. It's could have drafted Hunter and still got a D tackle. They could have got Hunter and traded the future first for a quarterback indeed. That's the thing. Like, and I don't know why people think you stupid, man. It's just they really must think that you the fan base. This is why I always say, man, and I appreciate y'all over here, man, because let me just tell you this. It ain't for everybody. I could come on here and try to blow smoke up, you know what, and try to tell you everything's gonna be okay, and it's gonna be a great pick, and it's gonna work out, and everything gonna be good. But the logic is wild to me. It comes off as that it's better. I would have rather took one of these draft models. I would have took one of them draft models and super simmed it, auto pick. It would have came out better than this, because now I have no faith that even though guys are on the board and you can make moves, they won't do it. And then they'll tell you, so you mean to tell me if they don't take Shador Sanders and they need a quarterback, they don't even have a second round grade on them? I will wait and see what they do as well. I would have taken Hunter anyway. Keep passing on blue chip players. Period. You're not fooling anyone, but yourself. It's just what they do. See what's he say. Do not reach for a QB in a weak quarterback draft. So Alan Foster, let me ask you something. Why is it okay to reach for a defensive tackle? Because there's no defensive tackles that go in the top 5. Why are we saying, all right, I want to put it here in the comment section. Is it a reach to draft a defensive tackle in the top 5? Mind you, guess where the best defensive tackles of all time go? Not in the top 5. But we're okay to, like, this is your problem. The problem I have, Alan, is you don't need to reach for a quarterback. If the Cleveland Browns didn't want a quarterback in this class, don't get him. You know what they could have did? Drafted Travis Hunter at 2, still been on the clock, and you could have got any one of the quarterbacks you thought was second round picks, and Henderson and Milroe in the second round. Guess what you could also do? You could have drafted Travis Hunter and still took Henderson in the second round. Like Ken Dorsey is gone. Offense will be fine. I don't know why you. I don't understand why you believe the offense blindly is going to be fine with no weapons. I guess. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Missed the number 1 wide receiver in a solid corner for 3 sacks. Let's see. Hope all works out in the end of the draft. Who can say they pulled the rug out from under us, though? I'm not laughing. Nah, that wasn't true. No. Travis Hunter Travis Hunter is nowhere near in the same place as Jabril Peppers. Jabril Peppers was a safety. Travis Hunter was one of the best players everywhere. Let's see. G. Bush, we can still get the second best QB plus Henderson from Ohio State with the 3rd round picks. Would you be okay with those picks? I said it starting out. I said, listen, if you are able to salvage this draft by getting Shedeur Sanders or Jalen Milroe, as well as one of the top Henderson, or and then get some tight ends with the 3rd, you can salvage it, right? But I'm telling you, y'all meet me back here tomorrow, because tomorrow after we make them first individual picks, I will be going live as well. And I am telling you this, if the Browns trade back, pass on them, I'm going to listen. I'm not going to do, I'll let you guys do it. I'll let you guys do it. And I'm going to ask that question after I get to this super chat. Appreciate you. There it is. Thank you. Thank you, Christopher Ryan. This is my thesis. This is my thesis. And here's what I want everybody to answer moving forward. We're going to throw this last one out here, and I thank you for putting this out here, because this is what I'm saying. My man Christopher Ryan is trying to explain exactly what I've been trying to say for a little bit, but I think he does it in a much more level-headed, concise way. AB literally made a deal of a lifetime, and by stealing an extra first rounder and then threw it in the garbage by not drafting Nick Chubb's replacement in Jeanty. Give me this. That's it. You got the first round pick. I want everybody to be clear on what I'm saying. It's not that you traded back. It's not that I'm mad because I like the haul that you got. The problem is, who did you take in order to then finish the trade that sets you up for the maximum benefit? It's like I told Jason Lloyd in studio. It's like you cross it on somebody over, you got $1 million shake and move, and then you miss the layup. $1 million hesitation, step back, but you missed the shot. The only way the trade makes sense is if you finish it off by maximizing it. You had the ability to trade back, get a first round pick and a second round pick. You got 2 1s next year. You got an extra 2 this year. And you have Ashton Jeanty on the board to take. You could have got the best back in the draft, and you still could have got whatever you wanted at 32 or 36. Now you got an ability coming out of that draft. Give me Luther Burden. Look what your offense looking like. You could have dropped right back to 36, jumped right back in. Give me a quarterback. You got the quarterback. You got the receiver. You got the best back in the game. You still got the picks. It just, I don't know. Don't know. Glad Watson not playing. Blame someone else. Boy, don't it seem like it, man? It don't seem like. But here's the question I want to ask going out. And I want much participation as I can get so y'all can walk me through this as we close this thing down, because I'm going to get y'all out of here so y'all don't got to be staying up all kind of night. Why would Andrew Berry draft a defensive tackle, which is not a position of need, when you could have got another player who is rated higher on everybody's big board and at a position of weakness, and you are actually trying to accentuate the run game and bring back tough, hard-nosed football? And even if you didn't want to take Ashton Jeanty, you could have took T-Mac, the receiver, the second best receiver in this draft, who went in the top 10. Why is it? Tell me, why is Mason Graham the pick, and what significance is he going to play in 2025 for the Browns? Why? I just want to know why. And your thoughts. The way you rationalize it, because I can't wrap my head around it. There's guys on the board that are higher than him. He plays a less impactful position. If that case, you should have got the edge rusher, who's a much more impactful player. I just want to see what y'all say. I'm going to scroll down here. Y'all keep bringing these super chats. I appreciate y'all, man. Last time the Browns drafted a D tackle, the first rounder was Danny Shelton, and it didn't end well. Yeah, he was a 2-down player with no moves and was out of the league in 4 years. But everybody keep trying to tell you, you got to build through the draft. Got to build through the trenches. Drafted Gerard Warren, number 3 overall. See how that worked? Drafted Courtney Brown, number 1 overall. See how that worked? Drafted Kiki Mingo at 6. How'd that work? Cameron Wembley at 10 or 11. How'd that work? I'll keep going line. Jeremy says that defensive line better have 30 sacks alone. They better be the 85 Bears. They better not give up no run yards. They better be in the backfield every play because you drafted a D tackle at 5. Come on, man. Charles T. Unless Mason turns into Aaron Donald, that was a waste of a top 5 pick. And they are supposed to be playmakers or quarterbacks. We need playmakers, not defensive tackles. Shaking my head. Thank you, Charles T. Maybe you guys can convince me. Hit the like button wherever you at, man. Hit it for me. Let me go to the bottom. I just want to know. I want to figure. I just would like to know. All right, here. Paid bum. He says, I'm lost. Why didn't we get Shador? Let's see. That D tackle was good, crappy college. If he could play, and Miles will be happy. They're going to start Kenny at quarterback and let him sink us. Also, the difference between blue chip running back and the next best running back is usually not large enough. Gap to warrant the pick. See the 2018 draft with Saquon went 2 and Chubb went at 34. I can see that. But also say that Saquon Barkley is damn good and still playing, and Nick Chubb is looking for a contract. It's debatable. They're both good backs. Hall is garbage. They just drafted him. Right? Tonight we will be great if we get Sanders, Henderson, or Burton. Let's see what we got here. We have Hall Jr. and a bunch of scrubs. I mean, you got Myles Garrett, you got Mike Hall Jr., you brought back Shelby Harris, who will probably start. You let Tomlinson roll out. You had Jawan Briggs, who you had a pick on last year. We talking about defensive tackles, and you're the worst offense in the league. It's a position of need. Dalvin is gone. Guns N' Roses 87. Your top positions of need is not refutable. Quarterback, wide receiver, running back, tight end, offensive line. Some could argue linebacker over defensive tackle. Oh, bro. Oh. He said, great question. D tackle is a position in need. Who's pencil? This is my thing. We kind of went over this. Please don't, Jordan. Please don't do that, man. We trying to keep it going, man. Oh my goodness. Zoop 2000. I agree with you. Only reason why they are scared to make moves, they are scared to pick players that might not pan out. They rather say the old saying, "We always got next year." I have no words at all. Let's see. Well, let's give me a couple more super chats here, and we'll end this up. We'll finish it up, man. Let's see. James Freeman. Love you, brother. I love Cleveland. Let's nail those picks tomorrow. Wish Jeanty was ours, but we got it solid. James, listen, they can really make up for some stuff, because I'll come on here and say I'll jump for joy if they got Shador Sanders or Milroe, and they got a position to get, but they can't mess these 2 picks up. These next two picks have to be home runs. These have to be no doubters. Everybody has to be on board. Not no, ooh, I don't know. Get Milroe. You just can't get a quarterback you need to swing for the fences for playmakers and Henderson and get a second round for another. I like it. Charles T. has also playmakers and Hunter and Jenner are good character guys. You had two playmakers that you didn't have to worry about in the club. You sure don't. Another one, Corey Dotts, Milroe, Henderson, Mason Taylor could save this draft. That really could. Is in the comment section. We're going to be back tomorrow. I want, when you guys read these, put in the comment section what 3 picks tomorrow could save the draft. That's what I'm focused on. What 3 picks could save the draft? How are we going to get it done tomorrow? That's what I want you guys to put. Mike, I appreciate you with the 99 cents as always, man. I'm Nick. Mike, sorry about that. Here's what I'm going to say. Again, shout out to Mason Graham. I want to make this known. Mason Graham is on the Cleveland Browns. I want him to be successful. I want the best for Mason Graham because the Mason Graham that is the most successful helps the team. Under no circumstances am I knocking him and what he has done to get to this point. Mason Graham has busted his ass. His family should be happy, and Cleveland will embrace him as such. With that being said, we are looking for ways to make sure we maximize these picks tomorrow. And we got to keep our fingers crossed that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski in the scouting department do something. And that's my hope from the situation. So with that being said, we're going to get up off here. Always remember that you never know where G. Bush is going to be at. Actually, you do. Tomorrow, after the second and third picks, when second round comes, the link will be out. G. Bush will be ready to go. And I want you all back here and tell me how we panned out, because I think we can salvage this pick. And I think tonight was a little bit of a gut punch because a lot of people were expecting the splash. They was expecting an exciting player, and we've been waiting for an exciting player like Travis Hunter, an exciting player to match with Myles Garrett, or a quarterback. You can still get a lot of those things done, but with that being said, we'll be back here same place, same time to make sure we keep account of what's going on. As always, have a good rest of your night, and always go Browns.